What's up, everybody? This is Kenny Cummins here of Chilling with Kenny C right here on TMVcafe.com, bringing you entertainment to your ears. And this is for the wrestling fans out there. So, joining me is a professional wrestler. He's a videographer. He's a content creator and an entertainment personality. He's mostly known for XCF. You've seen him in New South Wrestling. You've seen him in the United States Wrestling Federation as well, out in the Kentucky and Indiana areas. I'm excited to be joined with this man, Brandon Valor. He's with me right now. How's it going, man?
Dude, I am happy to be here. It's great to finally talk to you. I've been a big fan of your show for a while now. How are you
Yes,
doing, man?
I'm good. Trying to stay hydrated here. Got
Bro,
the
I I
water
have
bottle.
bro, I have seen you at so many shows lately, between the fair shows and just Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
You
You're at more
know,
shows than I am, and I'm a wrestler.
so I ask myself that question. I just feel like I do go to wrestling shows. I just haven't been going to this many up until maybe 2022, 2023. I kind of feel like my love for independent wrestling rejuvenated these past couple of years. So it's no longer just, oh, I'm going to the Central Kentucky shows. I'm
Yeah.
going Ohio, Southern Ohio, Southern Indiana, and I might drive a little farther than that sometimes. So majority of the shows I go to be like an hour and a half drive.
Yeah.
So that's not that bad. But me, even with the shows that I go to, don't compare to the wrestlers driving 3, 4, 5 hours. I can't do that.
Oh
And
yeah.
I can't do that. So
I got a
it's
lot of friends that go up to Michigan pretty
yeah,
frequently and even up to Jersey. That's a hell of a drive right there.
yeah. So my first introduction of you was not even wrestling. It was you behind the camera for New South Wrestling when they was doing the shows in Lawrenceburg. So you was always behind the scenes with that. So I want to start off with the videograph side of you. I talk about, from a wrestler's perspective, what's it like being behind the camera and just filming all this wrestling content for these promotions? How does that feel?
Oh man, it's exciting and it's kind of like bittersweet. I love being behind the camera because I love being able to tell a story behind the lens, you know. If someone's really in pain, I want to get in close with that camera and really tell
Yeah,
the audience, man, this really hurt this dude. You know what I mean? So it's exciting to me in that way, but I'm also like, man, I wish that was me choking that guy. You know what I mean? But
so
but having those wrestler instincts really helps you, especially when you're doing ringside camera or even if you're doing hard camera and you know somebody's going up top and they're about to do a moonsault or a 450, you know you got to raise that camera up so you don't cut their head off.
yeah,
And you get those instincts, especially being a lifelong wrestling fan, but even more as a pro wrestler.
yeah, it's something to behold
Oh yeah.
when you able to film all that
Hmm.
and just trying to keep up with it because different styles and different stories are being told, and it's like you're doing all you can to catch as much of the story, the little things like that sleeper hole and the kicks and the high flying maneuvers. Um, those New South Wrestling times was to behold Lawrenceburg, and I was fortunate to attend to majority of those shows. I feel like that was when things started to click for me. I said, you know what? I know these wrestlers, at least through these shows. They go to numerous places that's not overwhelming long drive. So I like, you know what? I went to 71 shows last year.
Whoa. Hell yeah, dude.
And by the end of August, it's gonna be 48.
Man,
Like,
that's sick.
yeah. So it's just, man, it's just shout out, shout out to everybody. Like the wrestlers, they usually get all the credit for these shows. But the referees, the announcers, the commentators, everybody, it's wrestling, even with the theatrics behind it, it is a collective front because everybody plays a part in making these shows what they are, making people
Absolutely.
make their money's worth. You know what I'm saying? Buying those 10, 15, $20 tickets, and people look back and say, ooh, that was a show worth going to. So hearing that perspective from you, being a wrestler yourself, and like, ooh, that looks familiar, and I may have done this here and there. So that had to be cool thing to see.
I also think of it from the perspective of I'm studying my opponents, right? I
Yeah,
can tell you how many matches I've watched of, Mickey Midas or Icon Lee. I can tell you how many matches I've seen of Zodiac or Misery, local guys in my area that it's like I might step into a ring with this dude one day. I know his moves, I know his mannerisms, I know his taunts, so I know his weaknesses. See what I'm
there
saying?
you go.
I've
That
been
that
sitting behind the
helps.
camera studying him the
Yeah,
whole time.
yeah, for sure, man. So
Mhm.
so shout out to all the videographers for these wrestling promotions. For
Let me
they do,
also shout out my partner in crime, Aaron Rose, the hardest working
yeah,
man in wrestling. He is the announcer extraordinaire, and he is at all these shows too. He's
yeah.
hustling like crazy.
Aaron, he out here traveling too. He out there in Tennessee. He's
Mhm.
in other states in Ohio, and you know, and so Aaron, props to him, man. Like he's doing it.
Hell yeah.
So if you need an announcer or you need a commentator, he got you both fronts. Yeah,
Producer, promoter, man, he does it all. He's great.
yeah, yeah. He's tremendous. So one of the I will say one of the highlights of my 2024 is seeing you wrestle in person because I'm accustomed to seeing you behind the camera. I mean, I know this guy wrestle, I just haven't seen him wrestle. And then the first time I saw you wrestle was United States Wrestling Federation at Nicholasville.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got to see him away from the camera and into his habitat and just do what you do. So that was special. And then the XCF show happened. Um, you and Shane Mercer. I'm definitely want to dive in with you about that. You got a story history with Shane, and you told me some things the early years of XCF. It was some backyard wrestling that was going on before it became like a pro wrestling um, promotion. So talk a little bit about give some history from your side as far as XCF from where it was then to where it is now.
Okay, cool. So I'm a little bit of a wrestling old head. I originally trained from 2003 to 2004. And, I stopped wrestling at about 2011, 2012. And at about that time, I'd been running on the indies for 8 years and I wasn't really getting anywhere. I'm a smaller dude and I'm just getting the crap beat out of me every weekend, and I'm like, I just don't see this going any place. And I remember hooking up with a couple of friends, Shane Mercer and Corey Havoc, other guys that were young and hungry on the scene, trying to learn everything that they could on the Ohio Valley Indies. And I struck it up with Diablo at the time, Shane Mercer, as he's known right now, the Iron Demon. And we became kind of rivals in the ring and had a couple of matches, but he was always such an athletic freak. And even young at a young age, man, he was jacked. So I could never compete with him physically, but mentally, I can. And so I would play these head games with him, and we got to this match where we had a Full Metal Mayhem chairs match. It's like I think the rule was you had to at least hit your opponent 4 times with a chair. And I think they were strapped to each corner. So you had to smash your opponent into each 4 corners before you could pin them, something like that. But anyway, chairs were legal, and he hit me with a Diablo driver straight off the top through 4 chairs, and it nearly broke my back. And that was it for me, man. You can go through a lot of punishment. You can tear an ACL, but a broken back is something else entirely. And I
Yeah.
had to really reconsider my career at that point. So we fast forward to 2022 when you reignited your love for pro wrestling. So did I. A group of us got together on Messenger and started talking about our love of pro wrestling and how we used to do it in the backyard. And even some of us went pro, and we brought it back, baby. That's what XCF is.
Yeah, so that usually take place in Indiana, most
Yep.
notably at the arena, a very historic place for Kentuckiana.
Hmm.
I've as people talk about the Davis Arena in Louisville, but the arena in Jeffersonville, so much history, a lot of big names, and indies, and those in the major promotions have been in that building.
Hmm.
It's a very small place, and I'll be like, man, how do these wrestlers pull it off? Because that's not much room, especially if you're like a high flyer try to do some things. It limits you. Uh, it limits people, but for the most part, people make it work. So the XCF show a couple of weeks back, that was my first time going to a show. Like I've been watching it from a distance. I've seen the social media posts. I didn't even know that was Shane's promotion until I got
Yep.
there. So Shane, and I've known Shane for a long time. I've watched him in numerous promotions. He's definitely one of the premier talent in Kentucky. I'm just gonna say that up front. And he's just that dude, man. He can go any style, with anybody. So he's a good talent.
Hell
So
yeah.
if you need somebody to do whatever, Shane Mercer's your guy. So backyard wrestling. Um, I know guys like the Young Bucks and numerous of others. They started there before they got into pro wrestling. It's got a negative. People got negative reactions towards it for obvious reasons. What's your thoughts? Given that you from there, what's your thoughts on backyard wrestling? How's you feeling about it?
This might be controversial to a lot of my friends who still do the backyard style shows, the mud shows or whatever they are, outdoors, no arena, just raw rodeo style. And that's cool. I get the appeal behind it, but I did backyard wrestling from about 15 to 18. And once I became 18, man, I took my money to the nearest indie that had a ring, and I said, sign me up, put me in the ring and train me. And I did. I put my time in training, even in a crappy little warehouse, out in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. And I trained for a year just like everybody else. So I appreciate the backyard vibes and everything, but now I'm interested in being in front of the bigger crowds. I want the production, I want the music, the fireworks, you know what I mean? And I'm starting to see it more in the local indies who are upping their production value. You know what I mean? Shout out to New South. They had a great TV show going there. I was really enjoying that.
Yeah, I feel like stuff like that ain't going. It takes as we all know, wrestling does take a toll on a human's body,
Yep.
especially if you go that backyard route and you keep doing it for so long with little to no training, proper training, I should say, and it's it's gonna catch up to you if you ain't careful. I mean, I've always felt like wrestlers are some of the toughest athletes in the world, especially those that go and compete every single week. Even if it's on the weekends. Like as people like to say, wrestling is not ballet.
Oh
Like
yeah.
like I see the chops, man. It's one thing to see it on TV like anybody else. It just doesn't do it justice until you go to a show and see it in person, until you see those loud chops in person,
Yeah.
them hard hitting clotheslines,
Mhm.
power moves, and just the heel just getting all this heat from the crowd. Like there were times when the heel gets near me and the fan sitting next to me, cursing them out. I'm like, man, I'll let y'all have it, man. I'm gonna let the security do their job, and hopefully nobody gets seriously hurt. But wrestling is special to me. It really is. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing all this traveling. It's just something I can't. I can tell you, but especially I show you. I'll take you to one of these shows and check out these independent talent. People talk about supporting independent stuff, right? Like indie music, indie businesses, clothing, art, things like that. These wrestlers that you see on TV, they started at the indies, at
Oh
least
yeah.
majority of them. Performing in bingo halls, performing in smaller venues, performing in gymnasiums and stuff. They started there, and to their credit, somebody found them and they moved up per se. So yeah, man, independent wrestling is in a good place.
Oh yeah.
Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, West Virginia, um, and just it's very important, man, because we've been through a lot these
Mhm.
past few years
Yeah.
just to get back what we love now. So it's here. It's at your fingertips. So please go check these shows out. Check out XCF. Check out Gen Next. Check out Northern Wrestling Federation. Check out all these promotions, man. Like it's just something to behold.
Mhm.
And EWA, check them out. Elite Wrestling Alliance. You was at the previous show at Madison County Fairgrounds. I got my first picture with you, and I saw the IG. I saw the. We gotta show that me mug. uh,
Bro, let me tell you about that match. It's just a battle royal, right? All you do
yeah,
is punch and kick and try to throw someone over the top rope.
yeah.
Ethan Heyer, big time Ethan Heyer, whatever that dude's name is, the 5 foot tall, nothing piece of trash. He kicked me in the jaw so hard, he nearly broke my jaw, dude. I had to eat bananas for 3 days straight. He kicked me so hard. I've got a bone to pick with him. I'm going to see him in the ring at some point, Ethan Heyer. And we'll see what happens when there's no battle royal and I can pin your ass to the mat. So I got a bone to
Man,
pick with him after that show. And I'm lucky I got that picture with you and my jaw wasn't fused
yeah,
shut.
yeah. I mean, that's those are things that people don't see, man. Because with the battle royal, you got many bodies in the ring at once, and you're just seeing who's going to be eliminated. So yeah, that's whoo. It See, that's why wrestling is not for everybody. Like if you can't take a hit like that, then you're better off not working there.
I don't
Like,
think everybody should be a wrestler, but I do think wrestling is for everybody as an entertainment source. As
yeah,
a fan, you got something for everybody. You got stuff the kids can get into, like the Rey Mysterios of the world. And then you got stuff that's like a horror movie, like a death match is like a horror movie. I'm worried about my favorite wrestler if they're going to survive. And then you got the high flying, lucha libre. That's like watching Spider-Man out there doing those
yeah,
gymnastics. you can't tell me that Ricochet is not a real life superhero. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got
I mean,
strong style. I mean, that's like anime right there. That's straight up Dragon Ball Z.
yeah. Oh yeah.
You get
Oh man.
Shibata and Ishii in there slamming away at each other, dude. It reminds me of some Dragon Ball Z shit that I just love it.
Yeah.
Pardon my French.
No, you good. You good. Speaking of which, man, like I watched SummerSlam this past weekend. I think it was Gunther and Priest. Now Gunther, for those that don't know, this is a big, tall German dude. Hard chops. I'll never forget the chop he did on Dragunov. This was pandemic time.
Yeah.
Um, he chopped the dude so, and you saw the look on Dragunov's face. He took the chop, had this look on his face, like, and just fell on his knees. I mean, that dude is a monster. And then I see Damian Priest. He hits him with a chop, and he's busted open. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
my goodness. Like, man, like how do wrestlers do that? Like with blood flowing, you don't even think of it. He's just like, oh, I got a job to do. Like that's just insane. Like a normal person would be like, I'm done. I'm on the ground. I'm in the hospital. Like, nah, man, you gotta keep the show going, man.
So ever since I was 16, I started going to heavy metal shows, old
Yeah,
school heavy metal shows, and they were rough. And I was in the mosh pits getting thrown around, and I just didn't care, man. I loved physical shit like that. I was never into sports, but I loved the combat of it, right? And then
yeah,
I found out pro wrestling was a thing, much younger, of course, as a kid. But I was like, oh, wait, I could be a pro wrestler? Oh, cool. And so I go out there and I'm like, wait, I get to punch someone? I get to kick someone? Holy crap, I could do a backflip and land on top of somebody if I want. Okay, sign me up. You know what I mean? And some people react differently to getting hit or hitting someone than other people do. It's just, we're wired differently. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
When I get in the ring with someone bigger than me, I almost attack them harder. Like I'm like a chihuahua, dude. I don't know what it is, but I go after the big dudes even fiercer and even harder. And like fighting Shane Mercer, man, I saw red and I went after his ass. And I can only tell you what happened afterwards. I bent a chair over his back and I hit him with a twist of fate with a chair wrapped around his neck. So I just see red sometimes, man.
Things like that, he's just sometimes, with wrestling, sometimes like there's training, there's rehearsals, like you get the feel, like what to do, how's things gonna work, and then things happen that doesn't go, that things happen that doesn't go according to plan, and they just hit an audible like, man, let's try this, let's try that. Um, but man, it's just a testament of what y'all do, what y'all been able to pull off. So just incredible stuff. So with that being said, man, you got any upcoming shows, upcoming appearances? What's next for you?
Let's see, not this Saturday, but a week from that. I think it's the 19th, where I'm going to be in TCW at the arena. It's the third Saturday of the month up in Jeffersonville, Indiana. So I'll be
Hmm?
wrestling up there. Uh, let's see. XCF runs about every 2 months. So once they list the date for the next show, I'll be on that. And I have a feeling I'll be crossing paths with my friend Shane Mercer one more time.
I saw, yeah, we definitely saw what happened aftermath of that match. So, you know, it's pretty clear you and Shane, this feud's gonna go on for just a bit longer, just a little bit longer.
Mhm.
So check out Brandon Valor. If you need a wrestler, he got you. You need a videographer, he got you. If you need some content, he got you. Just look him up, Brandon Valor, on Facebook, on Twitter,
Instagram.
Instagram,
Yep.
and yeah, he got all that for you.
Hell yeah.
So check him out. So Brandon, man, So yeah, I've known you for a little over a year now. So and we definitely started chatting for this past year. So it's great to have you, man, and chatting with you. And props to you on everything that you're doing. And now that I've got a glimpse of Brandon Fowler, the wrestler, now that I got the feel for him, definitely look forward to seeing more of you on screen in the foreseeable future. And thanks for your time, man. Appreciate you.
Hell yeah, Kenny, dude. I appreciate you going out and showing support and showing love to all the wrestlers, all the shows. You know, we're one community, indie wrestling, and it's one love. I think it's the greatest art form out there. So thank you for all the support, dude.
Thank you,
Catch you
man.
later.
All right, man. You have a good night. Take it easy,
Be,
man.
be good, dude.
All right.